Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of AdventureCast, the podcast that revolves around AQW and everything AE. I'm your host, Lankey, and joined with me, as always, is Thrud.
Yep.
How you doing, Thrud?
Pretty good. I just ate a burrito. Did I eat a burrito last time, too?
You ate something last time. You've eaten a couple things on this podcast.
I don't know.
In the intro.
I just ate a burrito. The taste is still in my mouth. It's pretty good.
That's amazing. I haven't eaten anything. I'm the only one. Today is a very special episode. I'm excited for this episode. We've been trying to do this episode for quite a while. We have Helimod with us today. Helimod, in my opinion, is on an upward trajectory in the AdventureQuest 3D, AQW, and streaming in general of many different games, on an upward trajectory of success. He is making big waves in the community, and I really enjoy his content. I've been wanting to sit down and pick his brain and talk to him. So Helimod, welcome to AdventureCast. Was that a good intro?
Yeah, I think that was a good intro. You know, I am planning on overtaking Corey as the biggest AQW YouTuber. But we got quite a bit of work to go.
Okay.
I think that's perfectly fine.
Wow. Could you imagine taking over Corey? He is. He's the number one AdventureQuest World's channel.
The ninja of AQW.
The ninja of AQW. Oh my god.
Nah, I think he's the biggest all around, unless I'm mistaken.
Yeah. I think so. I think in this small YouTube realm of video making and AQW, yeah, he's definitely the biggest. And then I would say that I've always thought, now this is me showing how much I don't know about AQ3D, so if I'm wrong about this, please correct me. That Goldraven, really cool dude, by the way. He commented on
he's really chill.
Something. He really is. He commented on something that I posted, and we were talking for like a second. He's super nice, and I like his videos. And I don't even play AQ3D, but I still watch his videos because they're entertaining. He is basically the Corey of AQ3D in terms of like subscribers. I think he's like the number one AQ3D channel. Am I wrong or am I right?
No, you're right. But I think the thing about AQ3D YouTubers is that he's been at it since like the very beginning, or as far back as I can remember. Mm-hmm. And so he's gotten this growth from AQ3D that no one else in the community will ever get or have gotten prior.
Oh, okay.
So
he hit it at like the sweet spot.
Catching up to him.
Yeah.
Or trying to do anything. I think 1,000 subs is around the plateau AQ3D will offer.
You think so?
Yeah, given how all of the new age creators have just kind of hit like 1,000 to 2,000 and slowly stopped growing as fast. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's about it for AQ3D nowadays.
Really? I was gonna say because I looked at your channel. You've been making videos for, well, at least uploading on your current channel for about 5 years. And in that time, just from 5 years till right now, present day, you're at, I believe, 1,700, around there, like 1,700, right? Am I wrong? I don't want to be wrong.
Like, I'm close to 1,500.
1,500.
I'm like 15 away.
Dude.
No, you're good.
Hey, yo, everyone watching this, please go support Helimod. He's great. Because I'm saying...
Yeah, I'm great.
I'm great. What I'm saying is that's like a lot of growth for that amount of time, in my opinion, because people have channels that long and sometimes don't even break 100 or close to 1,000. That's pretty good growth, and I've noticed that you have been gaining pretty steady growth, which is awesome. And here's what I want to ask you: how do you, what's your secret? Pretty much.
What's my secret?
Yeah, what's your secret sauce? Like, pretty much, you upload videos consistently, which is already a feat of its own. You're streaming, having fun, whether it be AQW, AQ3D, Lost Ark, Toram, whatever. But the point is, like, you're doing this. Like, how do you fit that into your schedule? You're doing so much, and you're doing it well.
Oh no, it's like a full-time job. I'm gonna be honest, it's a lot, and there's some days where I just really don't want to do any of it.
Yeah.
But then I've already committed to it, and it's like I can't not do it. So it's a lot. it's actually like more than I thought it would be
Mm-hmm.
initially. Because initially I just started off making meme videos, right?
Yeah.
Just making, trying to get a laugh or two out of a video and that being it.
Mm-hmm.
And growth-wise, I think creative content will never do as well as consistent content in terms of how fast you can grow.
Okay.
Right? And this is kind of why I started making commentary or the videos I do now with very few creative videos in between. And I want to make more creative videos. It's just that they never do as well as, let's say, when I'm complaining about a topic.
Okay. Yeah.
So when I went for the big push and growth, what I initially did, I reached out to a bunch of people, like Gold Raven, AQ3D with Bailey. There's like Fritz, and I started making videos with them,
right?
Because they were all bigger than me at the time, and they all agreed it's a very nice and welcoming community for the most part.
Yeah.
I got some tea. I don't even know if I should talk about said tea, but I got some tea. All right.
Hey, I mean, like I said before we started recording, you can say whatever you want, and if we say something or ask you a question that you don't want in, we'll just cut it out. It's whatever.
Yeah.
So, the floor is yours. You can say whatever you want.
Okay.
I'm not going to stop you.
So, with all that, I grew steadily. I kept making, joke videos, and I kept going at it. I kept getting people involved. And then eventually, I met Glazelle.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Nice.
And the AE staff Glazelle or the...
Yeah. AE staff Glazelle.
Okay.
And it's actually pretty funny on how all that happened.
Yeah.
So, okay, back in 2015, I and a couple of other people made a Twitter page called the AQ3D Community on Twitter.
Nice.
I think it has the most followers outside of the actual game Twitter.
Jeez. Nice, dude.
Uh-huh. It's dead now, and it just is a retweet bot. Nobody uses it anymore.
Gotcha.
But what ended up happening is... Achilles at the time, he made a bot that would yoink their design notes posts before they posted them.
Whoa.
And so Artix, seeing that we were posting their design notes before they had opportunity to announce that there was new design notes and all of that.
Yeah, probably didn't like that.
He started messing around with the bot, right? And Achilles actually ended up getting a job. All those Discord bots that announce Twitter stuff and design notes posts on Discord?
Yes, I have one of those.
I think,
or a couple of those in the AdventureCast Discord.
Yeah, I think he was responsible for a couple of for that.
Wow.
Because he ended up coding and getting I don't even know if I should talk about it. I don't care. But he ended up getting a job, and they worked with him to make the bots.
That's good. That's awesome. That's kind of rare in games, but it's cool when it happens. Someone will make something. I wouldn't say necessarily in a malicious intent. Some people do, but it's still quote unquote like frowned upon, and then they end up using their knowledge to better benefit the game, which I think is cool. That's awesome.
So yeah, as Artix was messing with us, he... Oh, okay. This goes back even further. So do you know about Blue Ogre?
I do not.
Gaming Ogre.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So back in the day, around 2016, there was this website. There was this like ad campaign between a bunch of websites where they were giving away in-game capes, and those right now are probably some of the rarest items in AQ3D as a whole.
Right.
And so there was this Gaming Ogre website.
Mm-hmm.
And all you had to do was go to the website, post in a thread, and you would get your code for the cape. Well, the guy who owned the website was super strict about everything. Like, you post in the wrong area, you get banned. You do something wrong or ask twice, you get banned. You ask for help, you get banned. I kid you not.
You ask for help. Hey, I need help. I'm banned.
No, I wish I was joking.
I believe you.
And
it's just it's comical. It's funny.
Yeah. So what ended up happening is that to push positivity, They reached out to us because we were the biggest Twitter account at the time.
Yeah.
And to push positivity, we made a deal. It's like, hey, you hook us up in the future, and we'll hook you up now. So we did like this whole positivity push for Gaming Gogger.
Yeah.
And I think it went relatively well, right? And a couple years passed, and they didn't hook us up, right? So we started bugging them about it.
Yeah.
Right? For, so at least something to give away through the account or whatever else.
Yeah.
And eventually, I finally got through to them, and they gave us a bunch of Artix points codes to give away, which was nice. But
nice.
That's how I ended up in contact with Glazelle.
Okay.
And initially, the Glazelle podcast... No, wait, that's still too far forward. I made my Paladin guide. And I asked for the Blinding Light of Destiny, which you can currently not obtain in-game in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
And they were like, oh, yeah, we'll put it on your account for a bit. Go have fun, right? And so I made a video where I have the Blinding Light of Destiny, and like nobody questioned that at all. People were more upset that the guide that I labeled like a joke video a guide, right? Because I didn't actually go over any of the abilities of the class. I was just like, yo, Paladins in space. That's it. Paladins in space.
Paladins in space. Oh my god.
So after talking to Glazelle a bit more, eventually that led to her being on the podcast.
Right.
And from there, my podcast is very nice to do because I could probably get any dev at any point in time, for the most part.
I've noticed that.
I've not gotten Artix yet.
Hey, that's going to be a tough one. We haven't reached out yet,
he's really
but
busy.
we want to. I mean, who doesn't? But that's a tough one. Before you continue, I want to also say I have noticed that your podcast, you've had a lot of good guests. Like a lot of, I listened to the Blaze, right?
Yeah, Blaze.
I listened to the Glazelle one when it came out. Yeah, that's another thing. You do a podcast too, on top of all this. You do so much, Helimod.
It's too much. I'm gonna be honest.
It's too much. And you're betting your streams. Right. You're like busting out like 3.5, 4 hour streams. I'm like, dude, jeez.
Oh yeah, today's gonna be pretty crazy in terms of streaming. I'm probably gonna be going like 6-7 hours. It's
good God,
gonna be fun.
Streaming? What are you streaming?
Today I get Chaos Avenger and AQW, and so I have to farm for that. And then I'm gonna play until the reset, so I can also get Exalted Apotheosis today.
Wow.
In AQW, yeah.
Dude. Okay. I really want to talk about, that's one thing, don't let me forget, I want to talk about your AQW transition / like journey that you're on right now, but I don't want you to stop, I don't want to interrupt what you were saying, so I'll let you continue with all that stuff you were saying about like Glazelle and all that, because I did interrupt you and I apologize, but I do want to talk about your AQW stuff, so.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, so.
All right. So from that initial talking point to Glazelle, I think that's where I started taking off. Because I started getting devs in my videos, and I started interacting with the devs more. And like now I just consider some of these people just friends.
Oh, yeah.
Me and Blaze, right, before we did our first podcast, he was like, yo, you play Guilty Gear? And I was like, I play Guilty Gear. And we played Guilty Gear all that week following up to the podcast.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, and yeah, so we're pretty good friends, but I know good. People might see that as favoritism and it's like a whole topic in itself.
Yeah, I mean, I could see how people would think that, but I wouldn't consider that favoritism.
Yeah.
At all. They're not, it's not, yeah, you haven't been on like a podcast and a video, but they're not advancing you anyway in game or giving you an unfair advantage. You just,
yeah, that's fair.
You know the people. Yeah. Like
the only time I reach out for free stuff usually is when I'm giving back to the community, such as like Artix points, right?
Right.
Or I am making a haha funny video.
Yeah.
That, it would just be slightly more funny if I could turn invisible, right? Just because. No other reason than that.
Yeah. Of course. There's nothing I don't see anything wrong with that. At all. You're having fun. That's the most important part, right? Having fun.
Yeah, it's been a blast so far, and I'm not sure where my vacation will take me this year, but if Artix Entertainment's open and I don't have any other plans, I really want to visit.
Hey, guess what?
What?
If you do that, I live in Florida. I live very close to the lab. I've never been. I've never been inside, but I am close. Believe it or not, I know where it is.
Nice.
And that's all I'm gonna say.
There's a bunch of people there.
I mean, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna. I would never give away locations of where I live, and I mean, you can kind of Google where the lab is, but about like 35 minutes away. That would be sick if you do that. That'd be insane. That'd be so cool. You should.
Yeah, we already bringing back Adventure Couch. That's my number one goal.
Is to bring back Adventure Couch.
Yeah, reviving Adventure Couch.
Yeah, I remember watching those Adventure Couch episodes. That was a cool little segment.
Yeah, but I can understand why doing stuff like that, and with everything else going on, it's just like YouTube. It's like podcast, streaming, YouTube videos.
Yeah,
it's like it's too much, you know.
It just becomes way too much to handle. It was hard for me alone to try to do a podcast every week, just once a week, and have it uploaded on Saturday or whenever. That was too much. It's just life. It just depends on where you are and what's going on. Everyone's life is different. So if you can do it, do it.
That's true.
Because, definitely do it because it's fun.
Oh, on top of that, I have my membership program, which I've been kind of falling short on. And the membership program, they get their own videos, and I'm like, that's even more work on top of it. And I'm like, oh man.
Yeah. That's cool. That's also hard. You're just bogged down with work.
Yeah, but I wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it. Right?
That's true. You can always that's one thing I noticed with your videos. Is that you can tell that you enjoy it. You can see that. It's so obvious when someone makes a video and they don't enjoy it. They're just kind of doing it to get like a video out to meet a deadline or something, or they just don't really care about what they're making a video on. It really shines through. But that's why I like your stuff, because and I feel I don't want to speak for anyone else, but I'll just say that like you're able to relate and be like, I like this person. Like I can understand, like they're having a lot of fun. Like I feel the same way, and you're able to connect with your videos and how you present yourself on camera, which is awesome. It's hard to be genuinely yourself, because if a camera's facing you, you have that in the back of your head. They're like, this camera's facing me. I got to do this. I don't want people to see me do this. I need to try to act like a statue, like a robot, and this and that, which is understandable. It's weird when a camera's on you and that. It's hard to just kind of erase that out of your vision and out of your head and just do the video that you're trying to make.
Yeah, the way I look at it is like I try to act like I'm talking to my friends or talking to someone I know well. Because that usually goes over better.
Right.
However, there was a period last month where my interest was in AQW, and like literally everything else was very high, and my interest in AQ3D was very low. And you can definitely see that in the quality of the content or just my overall energy.
Yeah.
And so when I do videos, this is why I kind of deleted my schedule on making videos. I want to do them when I feel like making a video, not when I...
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I don't want to abide by a schedule. Streaming is different. Streaming, you turn on a camera and it's like, hey guys, I'm playing game. And then you play game.
Yeah.
But making a video, it's like, if I don't have a topic to talk about or whatever else, it's like, I don't want to make a video.
Right. That is what I couldn't have said it better myself. It's a schedule will just really eat at you mentally. Like if say you are trying to upload, your schedule is, I don't know, Tuesday and Thursday is when you upload. trying to do that consistently every single week is so hard. It will drive you insane. Especially if you're a small channel and you're not making any income from it. You're doing it as a passion project, and you would do it regardless just because you have fun doing it. Still, it will eat at you mentally, and you will go insane because it is so much harder than people think to keep up with. People think that you can flip on a camera, record, and you add music and you upload it. You're done. There is so much that goes into it because everyone is their own worst critic, right? Like, I can't imagine a painter, I don't know, unless you're like Picasso or something, someone insanely good, but like, say you're a painter, you paint something, and then you're like, that is perfect. Like, no, you're like, I need to change this, that. I'm like, I should have done this. You're your own worst critic, and you yourself will also eat yourself alive with that. And it's so hard to do that. And did you see, here, I took a screenshot of it. I'm sure you saw it. Goldraven made a post on Twitter about,
I did see it.
Enjoying releases, but also he talked about like editing videos. And some people in the comments are like, wow, I had no idea. He's like, I'll record for 90 minutes and then I'll cut it down to like 25 minutes. And then from that 25 minutes, cut that down to 9 minutes. Do you know how
hard it is to sit through 20 minutes to an hour of you just talking and edit that down?
That's it's insanely hard. Like, that's what I think with this, with the podcast. Like, probably what I'm going to do after we record this is I might hang out and do other things, but I'll probably edit, maybe like I'll process the audio and line it up. I might edit for maybe an hour, but after that, I'm not going to touch it until like tomorrow, because it's hard to listen to a conversation you just had, especially if it's, who knows how long this podcast will be, but let's just say for this conversation, 3 hours. I got to sit through, I just did a 3 hour conversation. Now I got to sit through another 3 hours of that exact conversation. And I got to hear it again. And I got to cut certain parts to, someone might have made a noise in their microphone and it's distracting. I got to lower that so no one hears that. Like, I might have made a mouth noise or something, and I got to cut out background noise, and I got to clean it up. So you're constantly listening, but then you're also like, oh my God, it's so exhausting. It's hard. So I usually give it like a day and then come at it with like a fresh mind. And even with normal videos, like on my main channel, you record, and then you also have to, like, if you record with a camera, like face cam and all that, you got to look at that, and you're constantly thinking like, oh man, why did I do that? Like, why? You nitpick everything you do, and it's hard. And it's hard to take 90 minutes and cut it down to an informative 9 minutes.
Oh, for real?
Well, think about it.
Thinking about it.
I mean,
sorry.
No, you're fine. It's like, here's a good way to look at it. If you have, if you're going to make a video on a topic and you take the time, which, I mean, I've tried to do this and it works in some cases, but if you write like a script for a video and these are the points that you want to make sure you hit, you might have a little easier time editing it, because everything that you're going to edit, you basically build the story you're going to tell in the script, and you know how long it's going to be. When you record a video, flick it on, hey guys, today we're in Adventure Quest Worlds and we're going to be taking a look at whatever. And you just go off for like an hour and a half trying to get all this stuff in. You kind of build your story through editing. When you go to edit the video, that's when you build your story, and you include what is important and you take out what's not. You know what I mean?
And then figuring out what is important and what's not is a challenge in itself.
That is such a hard part, is trying to figure out what is important, because what is important to you might not be important to anyone else. You'll be like, wait, this is like a super important part, but in reality, it's really not that important. You didn't need to include that. That's hard to do.
110%.
1,010%. It's so hard. But it's fun.
It gets even worse with I don't know if you watched any of my like well-edited videos.
Mm-hmm.
But those are rough.
Right.
It's just going over the same thing like 100 to 1,000 times.
Yep.
And just making sure it looks the way you want it to.
Yeah.
And then usually when I'm recording lines for my videos, when I do that type of video, I'll go over like the same line at least 10 to 20 times, if that.
Yep. Yes. Dude, have you ever... This has happened to me so many times. Because I've made videos in the past on other channels that I had. Not like before I had this channel and my Lankey channel. This was before any of that. So like I've done this before. So it's like I'll sit in front of the camera like this. Like I used to make... I had a channel where I'd make videos like this. Like a talking head video. And I would be like, okay, here's the topics I'm going to hit, blah, blah, blah. And Goldraven even said this in his post on Twitter, that you'll redo like the intro like 20 times because in like reality, the second take out of the 20 was perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it. You just notice things. You're like, no, I got to redo that. And you constantly are so strict about how you present yourself or how you say something on video. So you'll constantly go through and say line after line after line over and over and over again. It's almost like you're filming a movie and you have to be like, no, I gotta do another take. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll get in like 10 minutes into a commentary video and I'm like, oh, wait, why did I say that? Redo.
Yeah.
Just redo
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Oh, dude, I know. Dude, oh, Helimod. Oh my God. I know. I did that the other day. I was recording, or no, it was when I was recording like the Moist Critical video for AQW. I was recording it. I got basically the whole video through, and then I kind of stopped. And that's another funny thing, is you'll get into this weird zone where you'll just kind of stop talking when you're recording and just kind of think. And you'll be like, wait, none of this is weird. This doesn't make sense. I'll stop recording and delete a 20-minute file of what this whole thing that I just recorded, which was perfectly fine. But then I'll try to record it again and try to do it better. And I've had it to the point where I mess up so many times, I'll just turn off everything and I'll be like, I'm not doing this. Like, I just can't do this. You know what I mean? I give up. I can't do this right now.
See, I'm not the type to give up. I'm just the type to do it until I do it.
Yeah.
And that usually destroys my vocal cords at the end of the day. But I'm looking through my recordings right now because I don't really delete stuff. I kind of keep it around just in case, you know, and I do need to edit my members' bloopers video where they get to see all of my bad takes. I'm looking at like this one video. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. It took me 16 tries to get it right.
Yep. It's, and people, and I'm not saying like these people are dumb or anything, but like, it's just they don't know unless they do it. Like once you do it, it's way different. Then you understand that like, wow, this is actually kind of hard, and it's not as easy as it looks because then comes editing, and editing can get really, really frustrating, and you can take and he made a good point in that post that some videos will take 3 or 4 hours to edit, which is true. I could have a really short video that's 7 minutes long, but that 7-minute long video from all the footage I had and all the different things that I add to it will take me hours and hours and hours and hours. It's like you almost get like burnt out when you're done. You're like, oh my God, finally I'm done. Like,
oh yeah, no kidding.
But then you're like, oh, now I got to make the thumbnail, and it's like now I got to think of a good title. Now I got to do all this stuff still. I'm not done, you know? There's still so much.
Oh, yeah. All the extra stuff just adds on.
Yeah.
But there's this... I made a One Piece video, like, I think it was a year and a half ago. 2020, September. Oh, man. I think that took me... I think it was like 40 to 50 hours to edit.
Oh, yeah.
And just the intro alone took me like 10 hours to figure out how to do that properly. And I was sitting there like, oh, that's how you do that, huh? Mm-hmm. It's like, it's no joke. It's like, it may like be like a kind of cringy video at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. But it's like, I'm just super passionate about making good stuff.
Right.
And then like, even like stuff like, I made this curse video in January called Moglinade. That took forever to edit. Oh no, that was awful. I hate animating so much.
I've never. I haven't watched that video. How is it like actual animation, like drawing, like animated?
No, it's not like drawing animated. I animate like 2D pics of people.
So it's like keyframing kind of when you're.
Yeah, it's only like 1 minute and 40 seconds long. It took me like 15 hours to edit that.
Those take so long. Keyframing sucks. Keyframing gets really time consuming.
Mm-hmm. Then you have to make I had to make the walking look kind of realistic. I had to make what I was doing kind of realistic. I put a Moglin in a blender, and then I had to go into Photoshop, and I had to Photoshop both the Moglin in the blender, and then the Moglin turned into mush in the blender. And then I had to animate the blender to make it seem like it was moving and, put sounds and all that. It was...
Right. And finding the perfect sound effect is hard.
Yeah. You would think murdering Moglins would be easier than that, but...
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you'd think. I've never tried. But it sounds like it worked out for you. You made Moglinade.
Yeah, we made Moglinade. Drank it right up.
That's pretty good.
Oh.
It can be a chore, but as long as you love it, it's fine.
Yeah, I genuinely enjoy it. But I just wish I had more motivation to make videos like those, but it's like they take so long. And what people don't realize is when you're making a video about a game, just because you're not playing the game, you're experiencing the game. Mm-hmm. And you could be experiencing the most mediocre, terrible part of the game.
Yeah.
And you have to sit there for hours on end, and that just burns me out so quick sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Can burn you out. I remember when I started my main channel for AQW, I was trying to do this series. Like, it was a cool series, and I had fun doing it, where I would get every Legion token item, and I put them all in like a spinning wheel, like online or whatever, and it would tell me which thing I had to farm next to get every single item, and then like the end game goal was going to be getting Legion Revenant, and it was fun. And that's when I found out I'm not the type of person that can like grind like that on a game. I'm just not that. I'm just not a person that can grind. I don't know, like, and put that much time into it. But then again, when I'm recording it, I'm making sure I also have like in my head that I'm also recording a video and trying to make a series and make it entertaining and make it not boring, which is hard. So it was almost like a little too ambitious of a task for me to take on, I found out, and then I kind of just stopped doing it, which sucks because I wanted to complete it. You should. I mean, go for it. I wanted to complete it so bad, and who knows, I might one day pick it up again, but it was like just where I was in life, I didn't have the time. And I'm like, man, I am not a person that can grind. Like, I will get a donated awesomeness item and I'll be just happy because I have it, you know?
Yeah, no kidding. I may or may not have actually done that.
And it's like my view on those have changed, because at the beginning I was like, this is stupid. Like, people work so hard to get these items, but I can just go spend money on ACs and get an item of donated awesomeness and just get it. And it's basically a slap in the face of the people who grinded for it. You know, it's almost like a loot. I don't think
that should be an option.
You don't think so?
I think putting rares, stuff that is no longer obtainable in that shop, is perfectly fine. But when you offer farmable stuff, it's an issue in itself. And I have used the guilty pleasure of taking advantage of it.
Yeah, me too.
But then everybody's like, did you really item of awesomeness that? And I'm like, I did. Wow, that's crazy. Shut up.
Oh. But I was thinking about it. It's like you'll have it, but it's also labeled in parentheses IODA. So like you have that stuck on whatever item you have. Like on my, I don't think it's on my Legion Revenant. I think it's on my Void High Lord. One of them has IODA on it. It's like, well, yeah, I got the IODA version. I'm not hiding it, but whatever.
I get harassed so much over that.
But who cares? But that's what I'd say. Who cares? You're having fun. Who cares how I play the game? You play the game this way. I play it this way. Are we both having fun in the end? Yeah. But I don't know why.
Yeah, people are like out to get me for that.
Dude, don't worry about it. Like, seriously, people don't know. Like, I figured out what people don't know what they want. Or I've noticed like people that, let's say, that don't like the game and constantly hate on the game, or just Artix in general, which I think is beyond crazy. Like the dude's still a human. Like, give him a break.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like give him a break, man. Like he trying his best. Like if you don't like what he does, stop playing. It's as simple as that.
I must hate on him every day of my entire life.
Just leave it alone. You know what I mean?
I must hate on him every single day.
I must, but it's like, oh my God. This obviously makes you angry, so why are you still putting so much energy towards it? And I just don't understand that. I don't know. That's just me. I don't get it. But like if people don't, okay, so people that don't like the game will be like, oh, you need to change this and add this. And let's say AQW does that. They change what they want, because they're a very strong community-based game. So a lot of the stuff, we have a say in what goes into the game and how it gets changed and this and that, for the most part. And then you'll change what they want, like exactly, and then they'll totally forget about what they were angry about in the first place, and now they're angry about something else. It's like, it can never make you happy. It's like, man.
Yeah, it's a never-ending cycle. Someone will always be upset about something. Mm-hmm. And I think maybe it's just Twitter, but I think in AQ3D's case, the game is somehow progressing worse than AQW is. And that confuses me. Because AQW...
explain that.
AQW was like the same game it's always been for like 10 years, right? Then a spider comes along and he's like, what if we made the game better?
Spider. Hey.
Yeah.
He really came through. He's the MVP. He really came through.
Yeah, he is like top tier coding god. Like, did you see the new guild update? Well, it's not updated yet, but did you see all those options and stuff? I was like,
it looks so good. Dude, and the thing is, people are like, oh, if it wasn't for Spider, then none of this ever would have happened. And I don't think that's necessarily true. Yes, Spider is a coding god. He is fantastic at coding. But I think that him coming through took some of the weight off the shoulders of AE and was able to get this done. Not that they didn't want to, they just couldn't. They have so much. That's the one thing about AE. They have so much on their plate. They kind of dig themselves into a hole with all these different games, weekly updates for all these different games. That is so much for even a team of people to handle. You know what I mean? So it's not that they probably didn't want to. They just couldn't figure out or plan out the time to dedicate to that. And Spider coming along was able to take that from them, take the weight off their shoulders, and he was able to do it for them. And it worked out great. Everyone was happy.
One day we'll get AQW in 60 FPS.
And not laggy.
Yeah, that's probably my main gripe, is that I go to do the thing, and even with players turned off, numbers turned off, the graphics on low, I still hit like 10 FPS every time. There's nothing I can do about it.
I know. I thought for the longest time, I thought it was my computer. And then I got a new computer, which can run Skyrim with mods and perfectly fine. Pretty intensive on a computer. I still lag. on AQW. I'm like, oh, so it's not my computer. I'm glad I got a new computer, but okay, it's the game, you know?
Yep, it's the game. But AQ2D is on the way, and I don't know when, but hey, it's coming at some point.
It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming, but who knows when.
I don't know. Thrud, do you know anything about that? What have you been hearing? I just noticed I haven't really let Thrud talk. I've been going on such like a talking spree. I apologize.
Yeah,
Thrud.
I forgot he was here. I'm gonna be honest.
You guys are the video people. You guys
We've been so
video
like passionate about talking about this, and I'm like, I feel bad that I haven't let you're the co-host. I haven't let you talk. I feel terrible. I apologize.
I've been studying the entire time. Like I was like,
okay,
and then I stopped studying because I was like, maybe I should like listen just in case I can intersect sometime. Like I was listening, but I wasn't like 100% focused on the conversation.
Okay.
I don't know. I still don't know.
I don't know.
Yep. I haven't heard anything from the inside in a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think moving all of their items and stuff to a different platform,
yeah,
on a different engine. Now, I mean, once they get it done, that game could really take off.
I mean, mobile games seem popular right now.
Oh, of course. AQ3D's player base is 70% mobile.
70%.
Is it?
Well, we get about 300 daily active players on Steam. And considering the average daily player base is consisted of about 1,000 players, Steam only consists of like 300 people.
That's pretty crazy to think about.
That is crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's I like to joke around a lot. It's like, oh, mobile players ruined my game, but in reality, mobile players are the reason the game is still going.
Yeah, they're helping the game.
If they hadn't ported it to mobile, no wait, I can't even say this anymore because you know what the craziest thing is? I don't know how much you've seen on Toram Online, right?
I've seen, well, you obviously talk about it and stuff like that, and then once I saw you, I started seeing it everywhere.
Yeah,
I don't know much about Toram.
Okay, so it has pixel perfect dodge, like dodge frames. It has auction houses trading, guild houses, housing. It has so much to offer, and it's on the same engine as AQ3D.
Oh, really?
And all of a sudden, their excuses of why they can't do this or that because of the engine start to go out the window.
Ah.
Uh-huh.
Ah. Again, I think it's they have too much on their plate.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think. Like, I'm sure, let's just say AQW and all their other games didn't exist, and they just had AQ3D. I can guarantee you they could, since they'd only be focused on that one game, they could make that game 100% the perfect game on that engine. Because
I feel like
they're
that's
solely dedicated to it.
AQ2D. I feel like that's going to be AQ2D.
Yeah?
Yeah, you want some insider information?
Hey.
So I was talking to Artix on one of his private servers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even think it's like private anymore because some people got access to that, and I'm like, how?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
But I was talking to him, and it's like, I don't remember the exact wording, but it was like, he said that if I were to put all of my money on something to take us back into the limelight, take us back into like the prime days of, AQW, he said he would put it on AQ2D.
Really?
And after seeing how the mobile market is, I have to agree. I think AQW style gameplay would work wonders on a mobile device.
Yeah.
I think AQ3D is completely out of its depth.
Mm-hmm.
And AQ3D is trying to be, when AQ3D was first conceptualized, it was supposed to be more than AQW was, right?
Yeah.
But now it's trying to be what AQW is, and it's not working.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely being a longtime fan of AQ3D has been a battle and a half. I will say that much.
Right.
It's so hard to like want to continue playing it, and like it's not like I'm forced to play the game. I can go do whatever I want. Mm-hmm. But I care. I care about the staff members. I care about the game succeeding. I care about the community, and at the end of the day, I just want the game to get better. But the direction the game is in, with every them rotating out staff members all the time, Cicero leaving was probably the biggest hit to the game.
Yeah.
After Cicero left, the direction of the game went like all over the place.
Really?
Every single story arc was just like, huh? The main story was just like, eh? The quality of the releases, nope. What? No, what are those? What is quality?
Yeah.
I remember talking to some devs, and there were some days where they had 4 days to release something.
Yeah.
And in a 3D space, that is near impossible. And what got released on those weeks, is still complained about today.
It was like the bare minimum of what they had to do to get it out, you know?
Yep, they there's this thing called the Genie, and the Genie is notorious for being the most buggy dungeon in AQ3D. It's this giant labyrinth, and while it isn't bad in theory, sometimes it just kicks you out. Sometimes, when you're playing Necromancer, it insta-kills everybody on the boss fight.
Nice.
Damn.
Sometimes, you just die for no reason.
Mechanics.
Sometimes, you're going through, and the portal doesn't activate. There's a speedrunning tactic where you can get through the portal without activating the portal.
Really?
There's a sand wall. After you beat the boss, there's a portal you can go through. There's a sand wall. That, you needed 3 staves to get through the wall, and there's going to be this huge bonus, right? Probably like a title and a character page badge.
Yeah.
What ended up happening is they got rushed to finish Sandsea, so one of the temples didn't actually get done. They used a previous release to go, oh, hey, this thing broke the temple, and now you can't get into the temple, right? Because they were rushing. And so that secret will never be finished. There is no way to get through that sand wall. There's no way to get that 3rd staff. And will it ever be touched again? I mean, that bug with Necromancer I told you about, instead of actually fixing the bug, they just reduced the Genie's ability to 0 damage. As a band-aid fix. So instead of fixing the bug, they just made it's really frustrating.
Wow. Yeah, no, that is very frustrating. Damn.
It took them 6 months. It took them 5 months to fix that bug, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Again. I think I've heard you say this in one of your videos. I can't remember which video, but I'm pretty sure I heard you say it. And I think the same thing, that if like weekly releases, they've been doing it for so long, which is an achievement in itself for doing it as long as they have. No one's ever going to take that away from them. That's like unique to them. I think that they would benefit highly if they just step back, and rather than doing a release, a whole new release, whole new art, map, story, whatever, every single week, maybe space them out. Do releases, maybe two a month, That way they can really focus time on the releases and make them as good as they can be. Because some parts, you can tell in the release, sometimes it feels rushed.
Yeah.
It does. I'm just going to say it. And I remember back in the day when I used to play AQW, kind of when I first started, every release felt like it took so long to complete. Like it felt like I was like, man, that was a really good release this week. The story progressed so much. there's so much new information. Look at all this, the new armor and stuff and weapons. Now, I feel like I complete a release in like 15 minutes. Like, not even. And I'm like, it feels like nothing happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's actually, coming back to AQW, I haven't done a single weekly release. I mean, I did some of the no guest stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I haven't done like a weekly release at all. But you know what I did do?
What?
I just recently beat the Darkon Saga.
Oh man,
It's go off, Thrud. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it is.
I fucking
sorry.
love Darkon.
Yep. Yes. Go off.
Yes, his stuff is so good. So his stuff feels like an old release, right?
Yes.
So
Thrud.
Yeah.
and I think they have filler, right, which are the weekly releases, right? And then they have the main story stuff, which sometimes the main story stuff is off, right? A lot of people were not pleased with the Chaos Lore Master storyline. And, you know, playing through it, you can kind of see why they wouldn't be pleased with it, and it's blah. But Darkon's story, I don't think I've ever seen hate on Darkon's story. Period.
No.
Right? There was some hate on, or not hate, there was some people complaining about farming requirements for the items when re-released. But other than that, no complaints on the Darkon Saga. But anyway, sorry to interrupt you, Helimod. I'm very passionate about Darkon, but go off.
I went into it just to be Ultra Drago. I wanted to beat all of the Ultra fights, so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go through this really fast. And, you know, because I was streaming it, I was like, okay, I'll read the cutscenes, right?
Yeah.
And paying attention to the cutscenes was probably the best thing I ever could have done.
Yep.
Because all of a sudden, it goes from like, it's like this Resident Evil style village, right?
Yeah.
Where these people are trying to figure out what's wrong with their animals, and then you realize, spoilers by the way, they're all possessed, and then the guy's head blows up, and I'm like, yo, did that guy's head blow up? It's like, is this really AQW?
Right.
And then like the body horror where there's like just stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch, and then I reach ecstasy, and I was like,
yes.
Oh.
Yes.
And then I was like, oh. And then we get to like Astravia. I think that's what the city is called. Yeah. And I love King Drago as a character. He's terrible, but I love that kind of character. Yeah. I almost thought about photoshopping myself as furniture for him.
I'll allow you to use, or I'll allow you to be my throne. I think is what he says.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And so we get to that like final area where, you know, you see like it's really weird, but it looks like a giant portal coming down from the sky. And then you see two bone hands come from the sides and slowly reach it. And I'm like, yo, the art direction in this release is phenomenal. The story, you know, it's not like a 10 out of 10, but like the story's also really good. And now I have to wait for the finale. I'm slightly upset about that. I want to finish it now because it's so fresh on my mind. But that final arc, the art direction is just crazy, and I love it.
I know. Man, Darkon, I hope he listens to this. He's in the AdventureCast Discord. Not like crazy active, obviously, because they're doing a lot of stuff, but I hope Darkon hears this, how much we're praising him, because, or it's, oh man. I'm in love with Darkon's art style and the direction of the story and everything about it. It's just what I love. I love the weird, creepy monsters. It's so original and so creative. And AQW needed that.
Oh, for real. And then all of the side characters, except for Darkon, are named after like musical notes. Or how did you word that? Yeah, I slowly realized that.
I mean, yeah. I would call it musical notes as well.
Yeah, It's absolutely crazy. And then I beat Ultra King Draco, and it was the first challenge fight. I beat Champion Draco on my first try, by the way.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
But, well, because I was going with people who knew what they were doing, and all I did was play Stone Crusher and spam.
Oh, okay.
But Ultra Drago is like, that was the first thing to give me an actual challenge. I was actually debating on coming back to it another day, but we managed to beat it. Yeah, because it was rough. We only have 3 minutes to kill Ultra Drago. Yeah. And it's not like he does anything himself. And it's such a good thematic boss fight. Because you're fighting his soldiers and he's just sitting there in his chair. And he's not doing a single thing. Right. It's his soldiers doing all the damage. Right. And 3 minutes pass, we wipe, we go again. 3 minutes pass, we wipe, we go again. And I'm like, this is getting really rough. And so I was like, okay, I'll use some pots. Everybody started using pots. And we were really strategizing on how to like beat this faster, deal more damage. And eventually we beat it. And I was just like so proud of that.
It's a good feeling. It is. It's a very good feeling. Man. God, Darkon stuff. I cannot praise that enough. Spider and Darkon, total MVPs coming through and just taking AQW in a direction that it needed. So good. I wanted to ask you, now that we're talking about AQW, what made you come to the dark side? Come to AQW?
So, as I've said, this last year in AQ3D has been really slow and rough.
Yeah.
And I wanted to branch out, right? Mm-hmm. I wanted to just experience something else, and it's like, I could do other MMOs like Final Fantasy 14. By the way, Endwalker is the best game of last year, hands down. You can't change my mind.
Okay.
But I was debating on doing that, and then I was like, okay, you know what? I hear AQW has actually decent endgame now. Challenging endgame. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I'll go revisit that real quick. And so I started playing it and got some support from Melina, and it was going pretty good. You know, I didn't really think much of it. And started streaming, ended up in a Runes guild.
Yeah.
And from there, it's like after I started doing the challenge fights, right?
Yeah.
I've just had a blast.
That's good.
And I farmed a bunch of no-gas stuff because, you know, I ODUD, whatever you want to call it. Oblivion Blade of No-Gas Pet. Make life easy peasy.
Easy game.
So I started farming a bunch of that. And as time gone on, eventually I was able to do Champion Dragon.
Yeah.
Woo! That fight is rough. I'm not gonna lie. I did beat it for my first time ever on the first try. But when I tried it again that next week without the same group, it took me 2 hours to beat him.
Woo! Woo!
And so Ultra Ezreal, the tower, the whole tower thematic, I love. And I know that's Dragon Fable's thing. And they just brought Dragon Fable fights over to AQW. Mm-hmm. But this is what AQW needs. It needs stuff that doesn't belong there.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
None of these fights belong there. They're too good for AQW, or that's what I thought. And then all of the new client updates, I've been blown away by. The camera tool, the ability to accept quests. It's like I'm using a bot program, but I'm not.
I know. I think that too. I'm like, man, this has to be not allowed. But it's their client. It's great.
So the reason I stopped playing AQW in the first place is because I felt like it was all cosmetics, no substance. It was like weekly releases. New cosmetic shop, right?
Yeah.
Make life easy. They weren't putting actual effort into anything. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, could we have bank previews? It's like, oh, sorry, the client doesn't allow for that. It's like, hey, could we have the ability to search for items in our inventory? Oh, sorry, the client doesn't allow that. Hey, can we have cosmetic or select your armor set slots? It's like, the client doesn't allow that. Can we turn off monsters? No. Can we do this? No. And then all of a sudden they can.
I know. And I think rather than saying no, the client doesn't allow that, just say we got too much on our plate, can't do it.
Yeah, and
don't just say it can't be done, and then someone comes along and does it.
Right,
it can be done. It's done.
Right,
You know?
I heard because I don't even know if I should talk about this either. No, I think it'll be okay. But I'm like good friends with Mr. Pisces Man, Fish Boy.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
We play. We've been good friends for a while. I was in a guild with him back in the day. But he said the last time they added like any new boss mechanics was around Asturian's era.
Oh, Ashirion?
Asturion.
I think that's how you pronounce his name. I don't.
Yeah, I don't know, but he was like, yeah, they can't really add any new boss mechanics because it like might lag the game or whatever. And then we get to these ultra fights. And in my opinion, 2022 AQ3D, or not, wrong game, sorry, AQW is the best time to experience AQW.
I can subscribe to that. Yeah.
Because it offers so much that it never did before, and even though you still play it the same,
right,
it has enough to it that I think it feels like an actual MMO. It feels like one of those private servers where they did all the stuff that you couldn't do before, and it's like, oh wait, that's crazy.
I know it. I'm regaining the joy I had when I first played it, and now I'm starting to gain that like, I love playing this game now. Like I can't wait to play it. You know.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to March. I usually don't like Legion stuff, but Dage's challenge fight.
Excuse me, coming on this podcast saying you don't like Legion stuff. You're talking to the two Legion fans here. Hello.
Well, listen, it's all like black and blue, and it looks even worse in AQ3D.
Yeah,
I'll tell
black
you that
and
much.
blue. That's what your enemies are gonna look like after you're done fighting them. Their eyes are gonna be all black and blue. I'm sorry, that was probably really cringy.
No, I like certain sets. I think they overdo it sometimes. Like with all of the variants. If we get another Darkcaster this year, I'm suing. By the way,
there's going to be at least 2 Darkcasters this year.
The best looking dark. What is it? The Darkcaster. I'm trying to. What's that? Shit, I can't remember. I had a brain fart. Sorry. Continue talking while I look this up.
Yeah, there's gonna be a new Dage challenge fight.
I hope there's a class. I hope Paragon class is finally added. Please.
Wouldn't that be great?
That would be fantastic.
That would be perfect for the. You know what? I'm gonna tweet that right now.
Hey, put it out in the universe. Make it known.
Yep.
I actually want to talk about this in a video, like what I think they could do with the fight. And they said it's going to be a multi-layered fight. Like, so you beat it once on like easy
Dark
mode,
Souls
and then you
boss.
go again, and then it gets harder as you progress in the tiers. But the challenge fights excite me the most, simply because I like having a challenge. I like grouping with friends, making a build, and beating something.
It's fun.
It really is, and
it's how the game should be played.
AQ3D has a lot to learn from AQW at the current moment. It's like, man, I'm just like so impressed with everything AQW does, and I know I have a few minor gripes, like,
sure,
frame rate for one, but overall, it's like I don't really have anything super negative to say. Oh, and the rewards for stuff nowadays, the 75% damage to certain mobs, and then if you farm something that's really hard or you Idaho it because you're extremely lazy, there's like a fine line. Yeah. No, I was looking through that list. Someone Idaho, whatever you want to call it.
Ioded. I don't know.
Ioded. They got the Polly Roger pet. It took me an hour to farm. And they went and spent their... I understand not wanting to farm, stuff that takes in the tens of hours to farm, right? You don't want to farm Legion Revenant because it'll take like 50 hours to farm. You don't want to do that. That's fine. But an hour? And they just went and like got it? Is like...
Right. But But here's the thing. Okay, think about this. Because I thought about that too, but then I kind of thought about this. Okay, so you have farming, and then you have IODed
money.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Money.
IOE.
It's you kind of have. Okay, so the farming, you have to spend a lot of time getting it.
Yes.
Right? And then you finally get it. Money, you have to spend money. Everyone needs money to survive. So you can get the item real fast, but you're going to lose money. And then this one, you have to farm a lot, so you're going to lose time, but you'll get it. So you'll lose something on both sides.
That is true. That is 100%
so
it
almost weighs itself out. So the people, if you farmed it and you see, okay, Helimod, let's say you farmed, I don't know, Legion Revenant. Boom. Helimod has Legion Revenant, and then you see me, and I did it, you know? So you can laugh at me, be like, haha, you had to spend money. Why'd you do that? Like, you spent real money? Come on, man. Just get it like this. Weighs it out, I think.
Yeah.
That was probably a really bad way to explain it.
No, I get what you're saying.
You get it.
The one thing I just don't feel like people should be allowed to do the thing with is these challenge fights. But I know you can. The reason I say this is because the challenge fights aren't like anything that takes a substantial amount of time. They just require you to clear it once, a day or weekly, right? Not a lot of time. Right. And with a proper group, you can, just go through. And I believe these are like the best achievements in the game, because it's like, it's one thing if you commit 200 hours to getting Blinding Light of Destiny, but it's another thing if you beat something that isn't inflated in difficulty. I think the lack of inflation in these challenge fights, like false difficulty, like AQ3D does this a lot, where they'll, a challenge fight, it's like, oh, you just gave it a million health. Why would you do that? Like, what? Why would you just give it a million health? Like, that's not challenging. You just gave it a million health. Like, what?
That's a good point. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, these actually require everybody to be on the same page. Running champion Dragon, you need someone tanking. I never in my wildest dreams would imagine there would be a tanking priority in AQW. Like, never. It's like taunts in AQW? Why would you ever need that? And then you do, and it's amazing. And then you need Arc Paladin is phenomenal, because the person playing Arc Paladin actually has to time their heals, otherwise everybody dies. Right? It's not just spam your 4 buttons anymore.
It's how am I going to use these 4 buttons in a strategy to defeat this boss, rather than just
exactly. The game has changed in such a good direction, and I'm so looking forward to the
said
Dage.
This game was dying.
Right? I'm looking forward to the Dage challenge fight more than anything else this year. And then eventually we'll get a Nogath one, and then we'll get so much. I don't know what their plans are for this year, but if they add the new guild stuff, like the guild shop, the guild ranks, the guild bosses, the guild quests, like they want to, maybe even guild hubs. Whew. Like, I feel like they could do all of that, and like they've already shown that they want to just through that menu right now.
Yeah, that's a big step, because Thrud, I believe it was in one of the previous episodes, probably the last one. That guilds, for the most part, were just a chat room. That's it. It was just like sitting in a Yolgar talking to anyone. It's just a chat room named a guild. Like, there was nothing. There was no. It didn't seem like there was any guild aspect to it, rather than just you have the guild name, under your actual player name, but then it's just a chat room.
With the new guilds coming out, I might even have to drop my own guild, because it's like I don't have time to lead a guild. It takes social skills, and you just need to recruit people, keep them in there, and that can be difficult, especially with so many different options, and a lot of the options being people who have been doing this for a long time. They have a reputation, they have a player base, so I think a lot of those guilds are going to become a lot more appealing once the guild update comes out.
Yeah.
Most of the reason
Also,
I've
when
stayed
did
away
they-
from bigger guilds was because of drama, you know, because
Oh.
guild drama on Twitter, like there's sexual harassment charges,
Yeah.
accusations, people's names being dragged through the mud. You know,
Man.
I've been able to avoid
Drama.
all that by not being in a big guild.
Great.
So
Just
yeah, it's
avoid drama at all costs.
yeah.
Drama's just not worth it.
I cut off Helimod though. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say, you ever get your guild get nuked?
No.
Like,
I
you,
don't.
you feel like you could trust somebody, and then they just completely wipe your guild.
I think I'm a pretty good judge of character, and I don't let anyone that I find to be sus inside of my guild.
Yeah, there's so much drama back in the day. Back when that the Stars Inc. released, I think Final was the guy who did that, right? I was in a guild called Sanctus. I think I was running that with Pisces at the time. And Final, he wanted to join our guild. There were some leaked screenshots where he was saying he was going to join our guild, get promoted to officer, and then just nuke it. And I was like, that that sounds like a lot of
That's
fun.
not good.
Yeah, and then there's another guy who, when we were using Skype, because Discord wasn't a thing, he started
Skype.
DDoSing everybody who was using the group call in Skype.
Man,
Fun times.
it's hard. People are they're very ballsy. over
Yeah, and I
that.
used to be like decent friends
Let's
with
just say that.
Rothian. Woo! Rothian has gotten himself in the biggest amount of trouble with this company.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he I think they went to court over a bunch of random fun stuff. Yeah.
Woo.
It was yeah, he deleted a bunch of characters on AQ3D. Because he was
Oh
going
my
through
God.
their code, and he deleted like 200 accounts or something like that.
Dude.
And
Come on.
he used to be a white hat, right?
Yeah.
Same with Rue and Lamp, and man, I know like everybody. And then there was like drama with Dema, and well, we can't actually talk about that on the podcast. I'm sorry, but I'll tell you guys after.
Okay.
But it's like
Insane.
I know the tea on everybody. It's crazy.
There's drama, but then there's that's serious.
Like there was this clip of Rothian in one of the AE streams, right? He just messaged, right? And Artix was like, "Hey, could you remove him from the chat? We can't have him in here because he's contractually obligated to not interact with us anymore."
Oh.
Yeah, so he's
Was
they
it
took him to
worth
court.
it in the end? No, probably not.
Yeah, they just straight up took him to court.
Oh.
It was so he's not allowed to set foot on any AE property.
Are you talking about the guy who used to make the gunslinger armors for Adventure Quest Worlds?
I don't know
Roll.
if he did that.
Roll off?
No, Rolith is a dev. He works at the Underground Lab.
Okay, never mind.
I
Then.
think he works on AQW.
I haven't seen his
think
stuff
so.
or I haven't seen anything signed by him in a while. Because the last
know.
thing that I remember he released was like his birthday thing, and then just radio silence. After
He
that.
might be working on. He was really big on the mobile games because I remember I tested Battle Gems 2.0. And
I love Battle
they
Gems.
right, and I never got actually rewarded for that. By the way, they were gonna reward all of the testers for that, and they were like, just like, nah, just nah.
Damn. Nah.
But yeah, I was in there with like Yoshino and all of them. It was an interesting time. And then I tested what was that game? They released like back when they were releasing like really janky mobile games for a long time. I think it was like a dungeon crawler or like a card game. I think Cicero was working on.
Oh,
the one where you like swipe the card.
I
can't remember the name of it, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I ended up testing that unofficially because I still had they still had my email, and they sent me a test version of it. And so I sent them an email. It's like, hey, yo, could I just help test this? It's like I already have access to it.
Right.
And no, radio silence, pain.
Damn. Radio silence.
Yeah,
man. Going back on when you said that, now's probably like it's like the time to play AQW. It like AQW had its prime, and then it went down for quite a while, and now it's going back up in another uphill trajectory. It is the time to play, and I think now is the time if anyone wants to get into making videos on AQW. Now's the time. Because there's so much content that you can make right now. It's the time. Like everyone, there was the time when AQW was in its prime. People were making videos, doing great.
Yo, who
now is that
Maxi
time again.
Jack?
That time is now again to make content for the game, because there's so much content to be had in that game now.
And they are working on their content creator program. And your boys are going to be first in line for that.
Dude, I can't. Is that at the beginning going to be for AQ3D people? Or is that going to be for everyone who makes content on their games?
No idea. I know only so much.
Right. Man, I think that's cool. I would definitely try to be a part of that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm already benefiting a little bit from what they want to do. They're helping me out with like giveaways and stuff here and there.
That's good.
So yeah, they're already supporting me, or I'm pretty sure they support other people too. I don't want to make it seem like it's just me, okay? But
yeah, no, hey, I mean they support AdventureCast too. They've showed their support, and Alina, and it's good that they're showing that support. I think that's really a really awesome thing. Like when I first made AdventureCast, and I think it was the first episode or something, Alina tweeted it, and we were having a full-blown conversation on Twitter, and she was showing so much support and answering questions I had in the video, and it feels good to have support from people that are
the people that
part of the game.
Exactly. It really, really does. And I really feel like it's like I don't want to make them upset with me, right? Mm-hmm. When I express my opinion. And I usually try not to do it in a super negative connotation. But I always feel kind of bad because I'm like, they put time and effort into this, and it's good. Like they really put work into it, and I don't like it.
No, I know what you mean. I have the same feeling. If I ever speak about something that I don't like, or I think they can change, because at the end of the day, what do I know? I'm just a guy who just plays their games. Like, I don't know the full details, like, but like I think, and I will. Okay, hold on. I think that as long as you talk about and address your concerns in a totally civil, fair manner, there will be no problem. If you, on the other hand, do it in a very angry and, venomous way, like
Twitter,
like Twitter was a video like AQW sucks, AE this, AE that, you guys can't make a game for crap, this and that. If you do that, then what do you, come on, man, what are you doing? Just tell them like, hey, you know what? I see you guys put a lot of time into this, and I appreciate that, but I don't like it, and here's what I don't like about it. Here's what I think could change. Here's what I think needs to be talked about. As long as you are talking about it, because you're at least doing something about it, you are bringing forth the conversation about it. It's more than what most people do on Twitter. Most people on Twitter just complain.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's like, what you are at least
bringing.
This?
exactly. You are at least bringing forth the conversation and starting a conversation. And that's what's very important. A lot of things can just be handled with a civil conversation.
Yeah, people call me the voice of the casuals on AQ3D. And while I may or may not like that title...
Right.
It's like,
right.
yeah, I mean, I just talk about what I like and dislike. And if people agree, they agree. And if they don't, they don't.
I've noticed I've had people DM me on AdventureCast or comment saying that, like, hey, can you ask like Alina this and this? I'm like, well, hold on. Like, I don't have I'm not like a direct telephone line to them. You know, I'm not like an exclusive like person that they listen to or talk to.
I am, sadly.
They just talk to me and interact with me because I'm nice. I'm civil. I don't spread hate or negativity. If I have a problem, I'll just address it. Be like, hey, let's talk about this. That's it.
Oh, for sure. I think
that's all you got to do.
Yeah.
It's okay to not like something. You know, the game, if everyone liked every single thing that they put out, the game would kind of be boring just because everyone likes this. Like, there has to be some things that people don't like to then improve upon that.
110%. I completely agree. There's this guy that came to my streams and he's like, this game trash. And I was like, oh yeah, so what don't you like about it? You know, I'm trying to start up a genuine conversation. And he's like, nothing.
It's like, hey, this game trash. Why?
It's like, what about it is trash? And nothing.
I'm just saying it because I hate it. Well,
Yeah.
why?
Right? It's like, no one's ever asked me that before.
It's like, dude, come on.
Man, I have so many good memories on this game. I met so many interesting people.
Yeah, sure. You meet interesting people. You make friends. You know, look at us now. You play or started on Adventure Quest 3D, AQW, and look at us. We're doing a podcast.
That's crazy.
And we're kicking off, and we're just sitting here chatting, having a good time. I'm having a good time.
I mean, I could probably go through like my contacts and try to harass Alina to hop on here. But I go on my channel, of course.
Right. It's like, man, it's just, you meet a lot of good people with the same interests.
But yeah, I would love to get Alina on a podcast and talk about the future of AQ3D. Or, sorry, wrong game. So
cool. I'd love to get, there's so many people I'd love to get. Of course, Artix, everyone would love to get Artix for things. That's a hard one. Alina, I'd like to get Dage. I want to talk about his art and just Dage. Freaking Dage.
Yeah, Dage.
Darkon. There's a lot of people I'd like to talk to.
I could probably... All right, I'm not
love that.
making promises, but we could probably get Dage on here.
Yeah, I mean, I think
to talk
getting
about
Dage would be easier than getting Artix.
Oh, no, for sure. I think he's Dage, really chill.
Yeah. But, I'd love... There's just so many people I'd love to get. And I wish...
I'd love to talk about his AQW days. Sorry.
Gosh. No, I know. Man, I know that he's like mainly on AQ3D, but like, man, when he was like solely AQW, golly, man, pushing out some beautiful things. Great stuff. Those are like, oh man. Because I know like basically like the OG AQW crew, like once AQ3D came out, they kind of shifted their focus to that, which, why wouldn't you? I don't blame you for that. But man, that's when I think AQW started to have a downward trajectory.
Well, AQ3D was supposed to be the future.
I can't blame them for that because they have a new game and they're working on it. Put people on it. I get it. It's just that's when it started to go down. And now AQW is starting to have its upward trajectory.
Right? It's having a renaissance. Once they get that game on mobile, I feel like everything will become equilibrium, or everything will like work itself out. Well, maybe like, we could probably get like 20,000 players back on. I really feel like there's enough mobile market to get like back in that peak area.
I think so too, because if you notice on like everyone's videos on YouTube when they do sponsorships, it's always for mobile games.
Exactly.
And every advertisement I get when I watch a video is always a mobile game.
Raid.
So obviously the mobile market is hot right now. Yeah. Exactly. And there's another one that I can't remember, but they always have like a skit. They make like a skit out of it, and the voiceover's terrible, and like it's not good. I'm like, okay. It's like your king has 20,000 points, mine has 50,000 points. Like, I'm like, okay, like calm down. Like, no one interacts like that in person. Like,
oh no,
this is very Uncanny Valley. I don't like this. I can't remember the name of it. It was Rise of Kingdoms, I think. Something like that. But mobile games are hot right now.
Oh, for sure.
So I think that it's gonna I don't think it's gonna be like I said this in the last episode. I don't think it's gonna be like some revolutionary mobile game. It's AQW on your phone. It's the new like engine or whatever, and it's changed a little bit. But it's just I think it's gonna do a lot for the game. I think we're gonna start seeing like the old days on Adventure Quest Worlds when you had so much trouble trying to get on a server because every one of them was full. You had to sit there and just refresh and try to get your spot in game, and you couldn't because they were all full.
I remember playing the week of the Chaos finale with Dragith and
oh man.
Oh boy, that was really hard to get on to the server I played on. I played on Susuro. I think me and my guild main Susuro.
Yeah.
Doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah,
I think I was on Samba at the time.
It's like you never see that anymore.
No.
And I would love to see that. I would love to log on and have trouble getting on the game. I would love that. It would be good to see the game flourish. And I think that's what's happening.
I would love to see them do it. Love to see them progress.
Yes.
And they already are progressing on, their most popular game is getting actual updates that aren't just the same old.
Mm-hmm. And I like what the community artists are bringing to the table too. I like
Lay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think Hollowborn stuff is too dark. Please make it light. That's all I ask. And then it might be good.
I like Lay stuff. Lay's cool.
No, his detail, like attention to detail is phenomenal, and he's really able to copy, like not copy, but replicate other artists' styles. Like, have you seen his Nogath armors? They look pretty akin to what Milton would draw.
Yes.
Yeah,
dude,
it's
and
crazy.
And like I see a lot of people. I think it's Adam. Is it A1A or 1A1?
He's a badge guy, right?
Yes. I was gonna talk about his badges. So creative with that. I think his stuff's cool. I like that.
Right.
Very creative. I think he was the one that he was tweeting about like a content creator badge, but like for video. Like, and it was a cool looking badge too. I don't know.
No, that would be awesome to get actually recognized in game, and I feel like, when people who make content for the games, just in general, it's like, yes, they're just players at the end of the day, and they just make videos, but they're bringing the community together.
Oh yeah,
I've gotten so much support from the Brazilian community, and it's so strange to me because it's like I can't really communicate that well.
I know.
A lot of them.
Yep. Yeah. I know. There was a lot of the Brazilian community in AQW. I've gotten some support from them as well. There was one. I would need to scroll back and look through my Twitter to find out the person's name, but they messaged me, and I was like, okay, I got to use Google Translate to figure out what they're saying, but he was like, you stole the name of my podcast. And I was like, I was like, excuse me? I was like, what? What are you talking about? So I looked, and ours is Adventure Cast, and his was like Adventure Quest Worlds Cast, or it was very similar. And I was like, wow, like I'm sorry. And his was around longer, and I was like, I apologize. I was like, I'm sorry. Yes, ours are very similar, and I had no idea that this existed, because prior to making Adventure Cast, I did so much research trying to find like AQW podcast. I'm like, wow, no one has one. We should start one. It'd probably be a good idea. Look for the name Adventure Cast. I couldn't find anything AQW related or AE related with Adventure Cast. The only closest thing I found was a fishing channel from like 10 years ago that had no uploads, just like 2 subscribers, called Adventure Cast, which is a good name for a fishing channel. I'm not gonna lie, but their actual channel name wasn't Adventure Cast, so like I was able to take that URL and claim that name for the URL, which is great. But yeah, I was like, I'm sorry.
Same with Helimod.
And they're like, it's okay. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, thanks. But the person's cool. They make AQW content, but Portuguese. It's cool.
Yeah, no, I think there's a community for all of them, and it's like, if as long as you aren't going at each other's audiences, I think that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Helimod, it's like you'd probably find helicopter related stuff.
Yeah, like helicopter content.
You're right. And but the channel name wasn't taken, and so I didn't have to change my name or work around it. So just casually yoinked it.
That's what we like. That's what we want. You never want to have to kind of rebrand or like rename things and work around things. And if you're anywhere like on this podcast, you don't want to be like, you can follow me on Twitter at Helimod, and you can go to my YouTube channel, Helimod AQ3D videos, and you can follow me on Instagram at Heli_this_that. It's like, okay, whoa, it's good to have everything you want to be one.
Exactly.
Everyone
That's why I changed to Helimod.
Yep, because you want everything as accessible as possible. It's good, man. Jeez, oh man. This hour and a half has flown by so fast.
Really? Wait, it's been an hour and a half.
Yeah, an hour and a half. This is sailed by. My God.
Yes. I don't know if you've seen it, but I was going to take a break from AQ3D because, all my previous comments, not super into it at the moment. But what ended up happening...
You just uploaded a video that you're coming back, right? I haven't watched it yet.
But, January comes around, and they have this huge release at the end of the month. And everybody's like, oh, who could it be? Who could it be? Right? I mean, I knew from, the get-go, because information just comes to me. I don't even ask for information, but it just comes to me, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there like, oh, this will probably be really good for the game. So weeks go by. There's, hardly any updates. Right, as you said, if they didn't do weekly updates, it's like the updates would be way better. And you're exactly right. Minus one thing. The community in that game needs weekly updates.
Really?
There is so much discourse every day on Twitter. Someone was leaving or someone was done. Yeah. And once you leave people with their own discords to work out on their own, they eventually realize hey, I don't like this.
Yeah.
And it's been there's been this giant negativity bubble that I've tried to stray away from, but the release eventually came out, and so this all that waiting was worth it. And honestly, from a technical standpoint, the Charlie release in AQ3D was...
Okay, that is what you're talking about. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, phenomenal. It is one of their best releases ever, right?
Very wacky.
Hands down, right? Minus one thing. It's only there for a month.
Yeah.
So they spent all this development time making one of the best things the game has ever seen. There's a challenge boss in that, which is one of the best boss fights in the game. I'd give it top 3.
Is it the rocket goblin guy?
Yeah, G Fuel. Yeah. It is that fight. It's like top 3 best fights or best dungeons in the game.
Yeah.
And it's leaving forever in a week and a half. Damn. Yeah. Why would they would do this to themselves? I don't know. But
yeah. I'll tell you, I did not expect that release at all.
It was pretty crazy.
I was like, what? Like, damn, okay. This is so random to have Moist Critical. But he's canon now. I guess that's part of his lore is that he's in AQW and AQ3D. That's cool, but yeah,
I feel really
it's gonna be gone.
Sad about it though.
Well, yeah.
Not just that. I think overall, Blaze was really touchy on numbers. But luckily for me, I know how to. I was very curious the day the release came out because I got stuck at work. I was going to try to get the day off because, it's going to be this huge thing.
Yeah.
And for someone with 10 million subs and all that, and I believe I can talk about it because it's not like this was shared with me because I actually just viewed the player count throughout the day.
Yeah.
The player count did not go any higher than what it could have been.
The release didn't do what people probably thought it would do. Like, whoa, this humongous channel. Everyone knows Charlie.
Yeah, everybody knows Charlie.
It didn't really,
Yeah, it peaked. So, how many? Okay. Let me ask this first. Sure. How many average daily players is there on AQW?
Like at a time, or
yeah. If you look right now, how many? Yeah, around if you look 3K. Right now, how many would there be?
I would say 3K.
Usually a little bit higher than 3K.
Okay.
And how much do you think the Charlie event brought to AQ3D?
I don't think any.
It peaked at 2,056.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think any. It wasn't really even an event in AQW. It was you fought the mushroom guy and that's it. And there was a couple drops in the Charlie armor, but it said go check out AQ3D like on the. When you talk
right. So with all of that advertising and stuff, it brought in I want to say because on a normal release day when there's a big release, AQ3D will be around 1,500 to 2,000 players. The Charlie event it peaked at 2,050 from what I saw.
Wow. Yeah.
And I feel really bad because, having an opportunity like that is it's a once in a lifetime thing. And I genuinely think they thought it was going to work out.
I think so. Yeah.
And I don't know if it was just bad arranging time or they didn't advertise it or they didn't hype it up enough.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it didn't get anywhere near the numbers that anybody thought it would.
Yeah. Sad. I remember I saw people upload clips from his stream when he was streaming it, and people were commenting. They're like, I love Charlie and stuff, but they're like, not even this release will get me to play this game again. And I'm like, damn, you really hate the game that much, huh? I don't know. I don't. Yeah, it definitely didn't perform the way they probably thought.
Yeah, I really want to see him succeed. And this is why I came back so early. I was going to take a couple months off to see how they were doing. But I did the podcast with Blaze. And nothing that we talked about, even the stuff on his plan, that he wanted to do personally for the game.
Yeah.
None of it was set in stone yet.
Right.
And for the first 6 months of the game, we're already in the second month. So you could see why this would be very worrying.
Yeah.
And so I'm out here going to try to voice my concern about everything because, to be honest, all of the YouTubers have kind of they're starting to fall off. They're starting to go do other things. The people who talk about these issues, or who did talk about the issues, aren't talking about the issues anymore. The people who are streaming on Twitch who were streaming the game to like every single day aren't doing that anymore.
Right.
And it's like I came back so that like at the very least I could try to, because this has happened before where they, I see a bunch of discourse on Twitter and in game through my friend groups, and I make a video about it, right? Because it's like, oh wow, this is an issue,
right?
And I'm just really hoping that the direction they go in is what they think will work, because personally I don't think the combat situation in that game, it could be better, yes, sure, but I feel like it's lacking all of the things socially that a base MMO would have, any other MMO would have.
Okay.
And this is gonna be the year the game goes live, so if they don't work on these things, right?
Yeah.
Or if they don't it depends. Because I'm not a game developer. I don't know if like statistically what being worked on will work or not. But given how the Charlie release happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the game, from I don't know if it's a gameplay issue or if it's a social issue or like an MMO issue, but I don't feel like even with advertising and the game going live, I don't feel like that'll even garner attention to the game. So it's like whatever the issue is, there's a plethora of issues, but they need to like get through all of them before the game goes live, or it will not succeed.
Yeah. I see.
I
understand that.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it.
Right.
Because I love the game, I love the devs, I love the community. However, the game needs to like evolve. AQW's evolving. The game that we all thought was going to be the same thing for ever, right? It's evolving on its 14th year of existence.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it really is.
It's very exciting.
I'm very much intrigued to see how these next 2 months work out.
Me too. There's gonna be. I hope it's. I don't know. You said it really well. Actually, that was really well put. Really well thought out.
They also had another concert flop recently.
Did they?
They had one flop last year, and so there's this period of time last year where there just wasn't like any substantial updates. And my theory is that they put a lot of work into it, and then it flopped. And because they put a lot of work into it, they can't release any of the assets or any of the things involved.
Right.
And so this month it was supposed to be a concert. I don't know if it was supposed to be Voltaire or
Voltaire.
What.
Yeah.
But it didn't go through.
Cause
and so they really, really need to make sure the next one does, or it is going to continually be an issue for the game.
Well, their concerts. I mean, their concerts seem to be like something that gets praised. Like in that new John Strife Hayes video, newest one where I saw it because of Goldraven. He showed a clip of a Goldraven gameplay in his video, but he was talking about battle concerts that like they do it like AQ3D does it well. They were actually praised on that. So
yeah, it's absolutely crazy, and I would love to see them do more, but it's like because of all the legal stuff involved, it's extremely hard for them to even consider.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot. I didn't expect some of the bands that they pulled to.
Oh, for real?
I was like, what the
People were theorizing that there was going to be even more bigger bands.
I was like, what? That's crazy. Like, I can't believe that, like Korn and Breaking Benjamin.
Alice in Chains.
Alice in
Chains was a shock.
I was like, what the heck? I'm like, what is going on? This is crazy.
Uh-huh. I was on my break at the time because, I just stopped playing the game. But I really wish I got to experience those.
Yeah.
Dude, the concert classes are so good.
Yeah. That's one thing that Classmaster Thrud says, is that the concert classes are.
I'm using it right now, actually killing a Major Mushroom. Like absolutely demolishing Major Mushroom.
Yeah.
But yeah. Speaking of classes, that's another issue the game has entire. I think they need a bigger team.
I don't understand the class team sometimes, and I hate to say it. Like they're trying, but I don't understand some of the Evolved Leprechaun, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Why? What? Like I feel like the class was fine where it was at. It was an alright DPS. It's easy to get, so it's not warranting doing a lot of damage. But even the buffs that they did give to it, it didn't feel like it changed the class at all. Like
Really?
Some classes are fine where they're at. They just need a little bit of a DPS buff, or maybe they need a buff in what they're special at. But they just, I feel like they kind of changed the identity of the class almost, because now it almost has a 100% crit chance. But what's crit worth if you aren't doing damage in the first place?
Right.
And I'm sure if I use this class in a party, it'll be different, because there's other classes that can buff crit. Like, for example, Archfiend now. I talked about this in the last video, but Archfiend is a very good crit buffer,
Right.
But I don't know if you agree agree with this opinion that I have, but I wish that there were more focused classes, that were good at one thing and just that one thing, because a lot of the classes are kind of jack of all trades, master of none, and then some of them are master of some and dookie booty at all, or all other things, And
Yeah.
I don't know if you agree with me saying that I wish that there were more focus classes, Helimod, but I kind of really wish that they would do that.
Okay, I was talking about the different game when I said what I said. Oh,
okay.
But my main thing is, my only gripe with the classes is that whenever I'm doing a dungeon or an ultra fight, it feels like my team's running the same stuff over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's always going to be those same 4 that are just good at everything, instead of specific ones that are good at something. And I wish we had more of that. And I know they kind of forbid any Chronomancer classes. It's like, oh no, you guys can't use Chronomancer classes. They literally one-shot everything in the game. I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, then why'd you put them in the game? Like,
Right.
You're right.
I think Chronomancer classes are kind of a product of their time, being like they weren't focused on ultra fights, so what did it matter how OP the character could get,
Oh, that is true.
It would be cool to see a Chronomancer that could be that was dialed down to where you could actually use it in those fights, which Chronomancer, the Chronomancer Commander or whatever, the tanky one, does get used sometimes by people who want to taunt. So that's
that is definitely good.
I think, in the ultra fights. But I mean, the other ones do get used outside of ultra fights because big number good.
Big number good, exactly.
Big number good.
And
can we talk about timeless Chrono real quick?
Oh yeah.
What?
Go for it.
Who decided that was okay? Let's make a class that can crit in the billions.
Yeah, you're right.
It's So my hardest ever crit was 31 trillion.
Jeez.
But
Oh,
I had
man.
to I specifically had to proc certain things that don't proc all the time, like power word die, for example, is something that I use to do that.
What's the percentage on that?
Very low. They changed it recently. I was using the old one. So the old one, you would get like a hit once a day. That would be stupidly high.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it was 1 million times your normal like auto attack, and I procced a Chronomancer 5 or the nuke off of a power word die proc with buffs already going on. So that's how I hit 31 trillion. But you can hit in the billions normally with the other Chronomancers as long
that's
as you're
insane.
being buffed enough.
Yeah.
But this one does it so much easier in groups because that's what it's made for. But it's weird. It's a weird Chronomancer, but it does what other Chronomancers do, but better with groups. Is basically what I think of that class. Because you have to like hit multiple targets with your buff to get your own buff to go up. But all of the other Chronomancers can work with like a 2-person party. This one you need like a full room to use to its full extent.
Thrud, you're like a class master, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I would love to see you go into AQ3D and try out all the classes in that.
They reset my alpha account, and I was very salty about that. But I did play AQ3D for a while. I got Paladin, and I was like, yo, this class does everything I need it to.
Yeah.
Because I was using Warrior before, and it was like, well, I can do damage, but that's it. You know, I'm a little bit tanky, but that's it. But
Yeah,
Paladin,
they've reworked
right?
a lot of the classes in the past couple of years.
Really?
They just hate making new ones. Well, it's not that they hate making new ones. It's, as Lankey would say, they have too much on their plate, and they're trying to do too much, and because of that, the game suffers.
Yeah.
So there's not enough staff members to work on PvE and PvP. There's not enough staff members to work on a new raid and regular PvE. There's not enough staff members. They could only do 1 or 2 things at a time. According to Blaze, it takes 2 coders, or was it 2 artists? I don't know. It was one of the 2. It takes them a whole month to make a new class.
Wow.
For
AQ3D.
AQ3D? So if it takes them a month to make a new class, then why aren't they doing it more often?
Because if they spend a month making a new class, it takes away from other parts of the game.
I'm a class
So,
collector, so I don't
PvE
understand
would
doing
suffer,
anything besides
and
classes.
yeah, PvE would suffer immensely.
Yeah.
They don't have enough staff members, and I feel like if they got more, it could be beneficial for them. But
They only hire like once a year too, and it's only for like one part of the thing that they ever hire for publicly.
It's true.
Because they'll post it on their thing where they're like, oh hey, we're hiring, put your application in. But it's only like once a year, and I mean, I don't know if they have the resources to get a team for that. You know, that's
I'm not sure.
can we talk about the leaderboards? All right, I'm pretty sure they have the resources.
That's a good point. 1 million ACs.
They did the same thing on AQ3D, although it wasn't as
That was crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah, it wasn't as how would we word that? Incentive. There wasn't as much incentive to donate in AQ3D because they did it in a different way. But people were livid about it. because it's like spend money, be on the top of the leaderboard.
Mm-hmm.
And so they started going against people. Like, it was actually really nice to see the players started going against the leaderboard because there were these regular gifting things for 1,000 DCs, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were Guardian gifting things for 800 DCs. But the Guardian gifting ones didn't make you show up on the leaderboard. It didn't apply towards it. Nor does the free ones. So what happened was everybody was buying the Guardian ones and doing events that way so that the leaderboard wouldn't see them giving money.
Cool.
Like, they wouldn't be participating in the whale board, as people would call it. They'd just be giving to give. And I think it really says a lot about the community. It was really nice seeing all that.
And
yeah,
me personally, I didn't even, I did give it a little small amount just to get the little, like, hey, you did this. Good job. You know, I gave the minimum, the bare minimum. But I used to do giveaways pretty, like, fairly often. And, you know, that is totally different than doing a giveaway. And the giveaways, that whole thing is a slippery scope, especially right now with all the scams that are going around.
I've been seeing that a lot on Twitter.
Yeah, I don't know. It was Furrow that tweeted about it. He was like, "Hey, yo," which he's, is he a staff member or a guest artist?
Guest artist?
I think so. I think guest.
Yeah. He makes a lot of really good armors for Adventure Quest Worlds. But he was like, yo, there's a lot of scamming going on. And unfortunately, wherever there's money, there's going to be scams.
It's true.
But it was just a totally different breed of giving that so when you're just giving, you're giving to give, right? But when giving is incentivized, it's a totally different ballgame.
Yeah.
Because it's basically like you're buying a spot on the leaderboard instead of giving money to give money, you know?
Yeah.
Which, it's a very touchy subject because, yes, they are very generous. Yes, they may have done it because they wanted to give to the community. But, you know, not everybody's like that.
No. You'd like to think everyone's like that, but no.
Mm.
Yeah, if only. Yeah, those first few spots where they were in the millions.
Yeah, I was
How?
like, dude, I was like, whoa.
How?
Look at all that. I was like, that's insane.
I can't even imagine spending that much money just to give it to somebody else. You know?
No, that's the thing. Though those first few spots were benefited greatly in the game.
Mm.
I think it was the top spot got a free armor, customized armor, or something like that.
Woo! That'd be cool.
So, 1.9 million ACs later, they get a free in-game armor.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's crazy. Think about that.
And given how I've only made I've done a little bit of spending. We've had a bit of fun. I had someone donate me enough to get like a couple of donated items, right?
Oh, that's nice. Good job.
But even then, it's like, do I really want to spend like $200 on AQW? Like, that's $200.
Yeah.
And then there's these people putting in like $3,000 a piece or higher.
I know. Yeah.
I'm not money shaming, by the way. Do what you want with your money. I'm just saying, like, that's insane. Sure. So, in terms of support and finances and resources, I feel like they might have enough. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, now that you bring that up, it's like,
Probably.
And, okay,
Probably got enough.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything from the inside on this, but I'm pretty sure that thing was to fund the launching of Adventure Quest 2D.
Well, it probably would.
Really? Yeah, it probably worked out great if that's the case. Yeah.
But like the timing just aligns. I don't know if that's the right way to say that.
So, like, what's been going on with that? That was supposed to release, like, year after year after year after year, but I guess they're trying to, like, perfect it or something?
Artix will show us, like, a little glimpse of what they're doing every now and then, and that's really the only updates we ever get on it from the outside.
I see. I'm gonna have to start harassing people.
It'll be like a little thing like, got this working, and that's it. Won't hear anything for a while. Like, again, man, I think they got too much on their plate. I'm saying it. They randomly out of the blue started making that Dungeons and Doom Nights, which looks cool, by the way, but that's just like another thing to add on to their plate.
Let me clarify one thing about that.
Mm-hmm.
That was 100% done. I mean, okay, minus like the music and stuff, but Dungeons and Doom Nights, the game itself was 100% done by Artix.
Oh, okay.
And
thank you for
and
clarifying.
It wasn't done during company time either.
Right.
That private server I mentioned earlier, I hang out with, like, I just hop in calls and stuff. I think it was 2020. He was up at like 3 a.m. working on it. Yeah. And when I believe the question got asked, it's like, when do you spare time for this? And he's like, oh, I usually do it after I put my kids to bed and after the work day. Okay. So the man's was literally working the whole day, taking care of his kids. And then he would work on Dungeons and Doom Nights from like 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. And then he'd get up at like 6 a.m. to continue the next day.
Yeah, I remember
absolute insanity.
Yeah, I remember I saw like a post talking about Dungeons and Doom Nights, and like I remember reading something about that, but I didn't know if there was like a team at all. So thank you for clarifying that, because I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, that was Artix's passion project. That's what he made a post about it, got him out of his we're gonna call it a midlife crisis.
That's cool. That's one heck of a passion project. I want to play it.
I do too. I'm definitely gonna play it, record a video on it.
For sure.
A lot of people are under the impression that it is like, oh, why are they working on this? It's such a waste of time. But it's like, Artix did it in his off time. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's good. That's all clarified. Oh, man.
All right. Oh, I'm running past my initial stream time. It's okay, though.
Oh, shoot. Well, hey, I'm saying we can wrap this up if you want.
Was there anything you wanted to talk about specifically before we do?
I think we
talked about AQW. Oh, I didn't get into the T. No, I can't talk about the T.
Hey,
but
all right. I think we talked a lot about I don't know. We went on so swiftly and fluently. I think we touched base on everything. Thrud, was there anything?
Episode.
I mean, sure. We could always do this again sometime. I mean,
yeah, there are some points that I want to talk on, but I'm pretty sure that they would take a while. One of them being getting back into AQW. How much time did you have to put into getting to late game? You know, because that's kind of a concern for somebody that wants to like join. You know,
I have a very dumb answer for you, and it's gonna make me look really stupid. But my timing with coming back to AQW. I was riding the high, right? Because I was getting so much support and videos were doing well. My subscriber count shot up and I was just enjoying it, right? So I work at UPS, and Christmas time is the busiest time for your UPS, and then the time between like February and March, not as busy. And so I took like 2 weeks off.
Hey, sometimes you gotta do it. No shame.
All right, I took like 2 weeks, like not 2 full weeks, but every time they were like, "Hey, you want to go home?" I was like, "Yeah." And so I went home, worked on YouTube stuff, AQW stuff, farmed, streamed, and I was having a blast. And now I am broke.
It's what you gotta do sometimes.
So, getting into endgame, like doing the ultra fights, it's let's see, if you have the classes for them. It's going to take you a really long time. I'm going to be honest. I just bought most of my classes so I could help with them more. But not everybody's going to be able to do that.
That's true.
So it's going to take getting to these ultra fights and having the classes for them. If you can find a workaround, but there's a guaranteed way to beat them. And there's a guaranteed way to like get through the content. And if you don't put aside the time, and I'm assuming Void High Lord is actually really easy to farm if you have money, but
it takes about like a week if you have money.
Yeah, you have to spend 15 dailies. I hate dailies, by the way.
You can avoid
Void
the
High Lord,
by
Legion Revenant,
doing something cheesy.
Shadow Walker of Time, Arc Paladin, Lord of Order. All of these classes take a lot of time to commit to get. And if you do not have them, then all of a sudden these ultra fights are really tough.
Yeah.
And if we're considering these ultra fights endgame, we're not considering like NSOD endgame because that's just do the same thing 1,000 million times to get item A. But if we're considering like these fights, yes, you're going to have to either have classes that work or you're going to have to buy them or commit the time to them. And committing the time to them is probably the least fun way you could do it if you want to experience them fast.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say, man, when you hopped over to AQW, you are like,
You went really fast.
you went fast. I was like, dang, dude, he's really like investing into this, investing time.
I saw the video. He's like, "Oh, I'm going on to AQW," and then it's like, "Oh, I'm fighting ultra bosses." I was like, "Whoa."
Yeah, I was like,
that was my
dang, dude.
My end game goal was to I hop on AQW, I do ultra fights. That's my goal.
Yeah.
And I have I think it was on Wednesday, I just beat Ultra Drago. And now I have beaten every single fight considered an ultra fight.
That's so cool. That's a really good goal and achievement to have.
So I'm very happy. And today, Chaos Avenger and Exalted Apotheosis.
Chaos Avenger is weird, but very good. I do enjoy the class.
Yep, and that... Because I kept seeing people on Twitter, like my main thing is, like, I see people on Twitter, they're like, man, these fights suck. I don't want to do this. They're too hard. Can I get the item of awesomeness of this? And I was like, wait, is it really that hard? Turns out, yes. Yeah.
Yes, it's hard.
Yeah, it turns out it is, yeah.
The hardest part is finding people, honestly.
I'd say my favorite fight out of the bunch is probably the Warden, Ultra Warden. And the hardest one I'd say is Ultra Drago.
Yeah.
So, like, if we're putting them in a tier list from hardest to least hardest, it goes Ultra Drago, Ezra Joel, Champion Draketh, Engineer, and Tindarius. Tindarius is really buggy, but it's really easy.
Yeah.
But Engineer and Tindarius play very similar, and they're not that hard at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I'd say Warden is my favorite fight, like thematically, because it's like, he lowers your HP to 1, and if you're not running a class that has a heal over time, then he goes dink, and half your party's gone, and it's like, oh,
ding.
That's the sound I imagine he does when he kills everybody.
Right. But all right. I think we got everything, boys.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun.
Dude, It has. Thank you so much for coming, man. I'm glad we finally got to do this. We need to do this again. This was fun.
Done.
This was fun, just kicking back and just hanging out and talking, man. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah. How do you want me to send my? I'll ask you after.
Yeah. Before we end, I remember I asked on Twitter any questions for you since we're gonna have you on the show today. One person asked you. Now, the way this is worded, like with the emoji, I don't know if this is like an inside joke or something between your community, but to me, it's just a question that someone wants me to ask you. Does he prefer his waffles with syrup or jam?
Knowing this person, I'm reading it right now with my sunglasses on. All right, because I can't see the hate through my sunglasses. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
Right. But knowing this person, there's like a double meaning there. So, if I had to answer honestly, do I like waffles with syrup or jam? I like them with syrup.
Of course, same.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever tried waffles with jam, to be honest with you. But syrup, I agree.
Yep, syrup.
What about you, Thrud?
I usually do peanut butter, which I don't know if that's like.
That's not weird. I've done that.
I don't like peanut butter.
Pure peanut butter and the syrup.
Okay, you're definitely not welcome back on the show. You don't like peanut butter?
Yeah, I don't like peanut butter. It tastes like I like peanuts. Peanuts are fine. Like it's whatever, right?
Peanut butter's good.
But like in butter form,
Damn, I like
butter.
peanut butter. It's all right.
I wonder what other butters they have.
Almond butter.
They have garlic butter. Garlic butter.
Butter.
Dude, garlic butter sounds good.
Garlic butter's
Yeah.
It's good. But
Can you make anything a butter?
Can you what?
Can you make anything a butter?
I don't know if it has to meet certain checkpoints to be a butter. I don't know.
I mean, you can mash like. No, I can't. You could probably turn small animals into butter.
Probably, like raccoon butter, possum butter.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. Just that the image of like something smashing a small animal like hard enough to turn it into.
Oh, speaking of which, you should watch that Moglinade video. It's one of the most cursed things I made in a minute.
I tried looking it up when you mentioned it, but I searched Moglinade and.
I'll put it in the description of this podcast so people can watch it. I'll have to find it or have you send it to me, but yeah. But anyway, all right, guys. This has been episode 14 of AdventureCast with the one and only Helimod. We will definitely sometime do another episode and have you back on the show because I could keep going for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah. I'll harass Stage. Don't you worry. We'll talk with Stage.
Okay. How's it? But before you go, how's your podcast doing, by the way?
It's going pretty good. I don't really have any topics to talk about because AQ3D hurts my soul right now. But it's going pretty good. It's not as weekly as I didn't like it to be, but there hasn't really been anything to talk about, if we're being completely honest. Right. I mean, the Charlie event we already covered, but other than that, not really anything worth it.
Okay. Well, for anyone watching, go check out the other episodes of Helimod's podcast and stay tuned for whenever another episode goes up. But you guys can follow AdventureCast on Twitter at AC Live Podcast. And you can follow my main Twitter, Lankey, at LankeyAQW. I'm going to allow Thrud. Go ahead, you can plug your stuff. And then Helimod, plug your stuff. And let people know where they can find you.
So I'm Thrud. I'm a class dude. You can find me at I don't even remember my Twitter at.
Come on, man! At Thrud10.
Yeah. You can find me there or in game. My username is Thrud on Adventure Quest Worlds.
There you go. Helimod, plug it up, man.
Helimod, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram,
Facebook,
AQW, AQ3D. I use the same username everywhere, to be fair. So yeah, Helimod everywhere. Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna be like, wait, there's like a Helimod Facebook. That's so cool. But yeah, all right, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, never mind. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I guess that'll do it, and we will see you in the the next episode. Have a good one. Peace.
Bye.